people go around putting passwords, two-factor authentications on their phones when the most important data that you could ever have is just sitting in your mouth, in your saliva, and in your blood. So I'm a scientist at the Australian National University. We work on analyzing DNA. I believe that good stories happen to those who can tell them. So I filmed this first video. That single video got me 25,000 followers overnight. It was like I posted that video, it went to do like 4.5 million views or something like that. And now I'm making the second product where I'm listing every mistake I've made in the last 4 years and selling it as for $15, you save 4 years worth of mistakes.
Today's guest has a powerful perspective on change, creativity, and navigating life's toughest challenges. If you're looking for a practical system to move forward with confidence, you're going to enjoy this conversation with Kirat.
If your job is being replaced by AI, I think it was not a skill to begin with, or you were not deep enough in that skill to begin with. So I just try to focus on something that's unique to me. So even though I could go to the concert and make a video about Ed Sheeran, like there are 5 million other videos on Ed Sheeran, I'll make a video on where I again became the main character and not Ed Sheeran. Like how I listen to his interviews and how I try to piece together his creative process.
Are you happy?
I'm
Kirat, thank you so much for making time to have this conversation. I have followed your work and I have admired your work for, I want to say, about 18 months, if not longer.
Okay, that's a very long time. Yeah.
And I have enjoyed that journey because I can see your content journey evolving, but I can also see you delivering real value. If I take you back to your childhood back in India, tell me about those formative years. What should I know about your formative years to understand who you are today?
So I grew up in this small town called Rajpura, Punjab. It's about 4 or 5 hours from Delhi. Now it's a developed town with all the facilities you would expect from a big city. But back then when we were growing up, it was just like a village kind of a place. And then I used to live in this joint family with my grandparents, my parents, a couple of my aunts, and an uncle.
A beautiful community.
A beautiful community. And this town of Rajpura is formed by people who moved from Pakistan during the partition. So it's basically a town of people who started from scratch. So my forefathers left their wealth and every asset they ever had over there in Pakistan, and we moved to India in this town. So it was like completely from scratch. So I come from a family that's had a very modest and humble beginning. And the reason behind the way I am today is just that I've seen my grandparents and my parents take our family from that modest background to a wealthy place that I get to enjoy today. And I don't say this from a place of showing off. It's just something that I'm really proud of because I've seen the journey from zero to where they have brought our family now, especially with the opportunities I get to enjoy today. Like I wouldn't be sitting here in Australia if my father didn't do all this hard work to build his assets and build his wealth to be able to give me opportunities like this. So just this whole journey that I've seen them undertake has sort of transformed me right from childhood. So that's what has happened. Yeah.
Tough times make strong people.
Yep.
I've heard of people framing unfair advantages in life. Is your upbringing, is what you saw when you were young, is that your unfair advantage?
I think it's the only thing that has carried me forward. I mean, I don't think I'm successful with the way I want to be right now. But even then, with being a scientist and being a video creator, anything that I've ever achieved in life so far, I think is a result of my upbringing. Because when I was born, when I was six months old, my father and my mother moved to the UK. And they used to work these odd jobs over there at petrol pumps, in factories, working in -degree freezers, packing those salad packages that you see in Coles and Woolies. So they used to do this back in the day in 2002, 2003. So again, just this whole journey that I've seen now, after watching this, it's almost like no challenge is too big for me, because now whenever I see anything, I'm like, okay, like, we can just do it if we work hard. So this mentality that I've got from watching my parents work hard for the last, 20 years or so is, I think, the unfair advantage that I have, because people like to make fun of people who come from wealthy backgrounds, because you have everything in life. If I call my father today and say that I don't want to work anymore, I want to move back to India, I want to quit my job, he will just say, okay, tell me what you need. So people treat that sort of as a privilege, and some people make fun of it as well. Like, you don't have to work hard, you don't have to do anything. But I see it the other way. When you see your family go from a modest background to where they are today, it sort of shifts something in you, and you can never take any wealth or even a single dollar for granted anymore. So it's all, you realize the work that went behind every single dollar that your family has earned. And I think that's sort of my unfair advantage, I would say.
I'm going to complete what I started saying about tough times making strong men, because good times make weak men.
Yeah.
And I think it is the perspective that you have, but also the values your parents, through their actions, have instilled in you. Yeah. It's also what you have taken the chance to observe. A lot of us see mom and dad go to this 8 to 5 stable in, our part of the world, probably government job.
Yeah.
And then we come overseas as either permanent residents or as migrants or as students, and we have to work in Woolworths or Coles or in a call center. Oh, this is not the type of job. But you've seen your parents do that task.
Yeah.
What value did you bring from that upbringing, in terms of you've seen people striving to get to a goal?
Yep.
But how different was it when you first arrived to Canberra? How different was that? You know what you need to do, but now you're here. You have to do it.
Yep. So me and my father have always had this conversation where studying abroad was something that I always wanted to do, just for exposure. Like, I wanted to move out of my comfort zone as quickly as possible. That is the only reason that I've come to study abroad. And it didn't matter to me if I come to Australia, UK, US, as long as it was just going out of my comfort zone. So me and my father had this conversation where he told me, like, you focus only on studying. Like, if you need any money, if you need anything, if you want to work, do it for the fun of it or because you want to. But if you're ever stuck in situations where, it's either a choice between studying or working, you just study and we'll take care of the finances up until you're studying. Like, don't worry about it. So I come from a privileged position that way. But again, I've seen my father work hard and everything, so I couldn't sit still. That's why I've always had this passion for photography and videography. And as soon as I came to Canberra, I made my portfolio and I started just distributing it everywhere. Like, I started reaching out to people and contacts that could get me orders for freelance videography, photography and stuff. And within 3 weeks of arriving in Australia, I got my first job as a casual videographer at the university itself. So that sort of made my journey a bit easier. One of the things that I'm most proud of is that I could use my skills to make money, and I never had to go the route where I'm doing something just for the money. I've always done work that's been aligned to me and my values, and so I've basically been building my resume from day one. I've never done any job that's not related to videography, basically. So yeah, that's been a privilege of having a hobby and a skill, I guess.
Where does that mindset come from? Your parents say, hey, don't worry about anything, we'll look after you. That's not a privilege that lots of children have. You have that privilege.
Yeah.
You could have studied for the time you want to.
Yep.
and partied hard for the rest of the time. Where does that discipline, where does that value come from in your life, do you think?
I just think that when I saw this invoice that the Australian National University sent me, I think that was enough for me to say, okay, like, we can't be messing around. Like, even though, like, as I said, like, I had no financial pressure from my family or anything, but it's just that there was, I think, a bit of ego is necessary as well. Like, I was like, if I'm put out there in the world without my parents' help, without anyone's help, I can make a living out of my skills. Like, that's what I wanted to see for myself. Without anyone's help, without anything, I can cold reach to people. I can do weddings. I can do birthday parties. I can work with a university. I just wanted to see that for myself and build that confidence. Learn tricks of the trade, make contacts. So it was just, I just loved this so much. I would do it for free as well. So that's the basis of everything I do. I only do things that I would do for free as well, even if I don't get paid. And I have for the longest time, like with my Instagram reels, or I had a YouTube channel around 6-7 years back as well. Like I barely made any money out of it in comparison to the effort I put in. I made some little money here and there, but it's just that I enjoy these things so much that money is maybe third or fourth goal on the list. First is just having fun. So I think that's where that comes from. Yeah.
You've stacked a lot of unfair advantages. I've heard really smart people like Naval say, do something that feels like play for you.
Yep.
Because if it's work for somebody else, they'll stop. You'll keep going.
Yep.
In your journey to get your freelance gigs, your wedding videography and photography gigs and all of that, for anyone listening who thinks, okay, you sent these 3 DMs and they gave you business, give me some perspective, because I've been there also. It's not super easy. You do face lots of rejection. You do face different client expectations. Give me a little bit of a flavor of actually how did you start? How did you create the portfolio? What was that cold outreach looking like? And then how did you build some momentum?
Oh yeah, when I say all this, I don't mean to say in any way that I'm an expert or I executed everything perfectly. Like, I messed up a lot along the way. Like, literally 4 months back, I called this client for a payment and they said, like, we were not happy with your work at all. So I just, gave them a discount, okay, if you're not happy, then I don't feel good taking the payment that we agreed on. So I had to give them a discount. And recently I lost another client who was very near and dear. The project was very near and dear to me. So I lost that as well. So it's not like I'm an expert. I've made mess along the way as well. But I just believe in iteration, like fail fast, learn fast. So actually I become happy when I mess something up or some failure happens, because that means I can learn from it and make sure it never happens again, kind of scenario. So the way I got all these gigs was, for the last 5 years before coming to Australia, I had invested on YouTube and I had created all these videos out of fun. There was no purpose to it. And one day, someone from the university stumbled upon one of my videos, which was about the Australian National University. I was back home in India during COVID. And then because of COVID, I couldn't travel to Australia. So I was studying online at ANU. So I just recorded that whole experience, that I'm waking up at 5 a.m. in India, because that was 9 a.m. in Australia. So I was starting my day like this and then, sleeping around evening. So I was like, this is interesting. We should film this. So I filmed this, put it up, and someone from the university saw it. So when I came here, they just gave me a reference for the job. That, someone was looking for a videographer and they were like, just check this guy's videos out. So even though it might seem like I just got the opportunity handed to me, it was maybe like, 2 or 3 years of work that went behind it. And then when I got called in for the interview, they were like, we'll take a test of yours. So they sent me on a couple of photography shoots just to check. And when that was happening, that's how I got my first job. And after I got my first job, because I was so passionate and I used to have so much fun doing this, after that it was mostly word of mouth. So someone asked, this same person who recommended me for the job, that, do you know someone who does real estate photography? So he just recommended me again because he has seen my work in the past. Then one of my friends was getting married, so she was like, oh, do you know of any videographers? And then someone recommended me. So after that, it was mostly word of mouth. And because of all these projects, I was able to build a portfolio. So when I cold messaged someone or I applied for a project on some online website, it was easy for me because I already had the portfolio.
And that's a lovely journey. Is there a moment after you came to Australia that you realized you've changed and there's no going back?
Yeah, it has happened in a lot of situations, but one of them that I particularly remember is, so I'm a scientist at the Australian National University. We work on analyzing DNA. For one of the projects we do is we analyze DNA of threatened reptiles of Australia, so snakes, lizards, turtles. But when I started this role, I had no idea about any of it. Like the last time I studied biology was in 10th grade. So I mainly got this job through my computing skills, because this job I do is like 60-70% computing and rest of it is biology. So 6 months into this role, I messed up a project, and the cost of that mess up would have been around $50,000 to $60,000 easily. And the day I realized I had messed up, I went to my boss, and I was really scared. I was like, this is the day I'm getting fired. So I was prepared for it. I was like, I deserve this. I should get fired because of this mistake I made that's costing upwards of $50,000. But when I went to my boss, he said, you know what, it's okay. I am sorry. I should have supported you better. And we should go grab a beer and not worry about it. Let's fix it tomorrow. That's it. So he just said this to me. He trusted me. He knew that, that mistake I made was not intentional. It just happened. It was. So when this happened, I realized that the entire worldview I have up until now growing up is just one way of living life. And after I walked out of that meeting room, I feel like I changed as a person. That was one of the moments that I will never forget, when I thought I would get fired and my boss didn't even, bat an eye on me. He's like, it's okay, let's drink beer. So that made me realize that the way that I've been living so far, there are 100 ways of doing things. And after watching this, I started observing other cultural differences. I've spent a lot of time with Australians, and now my entire worldview has changed. Before this incident, I used to get angry on every little thing. When things used to not work out or I used to make mistakes, I used to get a lot of anger and frustration. But now I'm just like the calmest person ever. Like whenever anything bad happens or anything I mess up, I'm just calm and I just deal with it. And that's the Australia effect that I've had on me. And I don't think I can ever go back to being the way I was before this incident. So it's just the little moments like these that sort of, that are mind-blowing to you, and you see how the world doesn't always work you thought it always does. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And I hope other students, other people who come to Australia also have that same Australia effect, because that's a really good perspective. I've admired your work, and I want to understand, what do we not know about the importance of DNA research?
I feel like, people go around putting passwords, two-factor authentications on their phones, on their, emails and everything, when the most important data that you could ever have is just sitting in your mouth, in your saliva, and in your blood. Because I was new to this field, I won't lie, I just joined it as a job. It's a job, I have to do it. But 6 months, 7 months into it, when I saw that what you could do with DNA, it was like, why aren't more people doing this work? Because this can transform everything we know about humanity. For example, there are some diseases which are late onset, which means that they occur in your body when you're getting older, 45, 50, 60, and they have no symptoms when you're growing up as well. So using your DNA within a span of a single day, a scientist like me or someone else who does this work can tell you if you're at risk for one of those diseases, and we could probably warn you and start your treatment or management of the disease very early on. And there are hundreds of these diseases that are out there. And because we don't have the infrastructure and we don't have the public policies around doing these things, they are very accessible to a small number of people. But this technology is there. Like, you can do these things within one day. You could probably, save someone's life by informing them of important information. We buy so many medicines and drugs. Now, they don't have the same effect on every single person because they were tested on a small group of cohort. So using your DNA again within a day or so, you can check if you will have an adverse reaction to a drug that you're about to take. So again, that could be life-saving as well. And these are only a couple of use cases I've mentioned, but it's like a gold mine. If people start working on it and we have the infrastructure to support DNA research, I think it's a transformational field. Yeah.
And where would somebody access a DNA test? Do we come looking for you, or are there other places that people can access it?
So I'm a research scientist, so legally I'm not allowed to give any medical implications. So we work with a lot of clinical labs across Australia, and once the research is done, it goes through peer review process, which takes a couple of years. Then it goes through clinical testing, which again can take up to a couple of decades as well. So it's a slow process, but it's happening. It's going on. Some countries have it implemented already, like I think Norway, Finland, all those countries have really good infrastructure where they have this DNA biobank, if you call it. Like we have blood banks, they have DNA biobanks where they store everyone's data and they screen for these things regularly. So it just depends on the country's political infrastructure as well. So it depends on the government. So it will be a slow process, I think, particularly in Australia, but in some other parts of the world, it's already been going on.
If we go and focus on you leaving home, yes, you had the financial backing. Yes, you're driven and you know what you need to do. What did leaving home teach you that you would have never learned if you stayed at home?
I think a lot of people have experiences around earning money because they don't believe they can go out in the world, make a living and survive on their own. But that wasn't the biggest concern I had. And this goes back to when I first left home to go to a university in India. So I went to this university in South India called Manipal University for a couple of years. And then I transferred from there to ANU. So it was like a split, the same degree split between two universities. And since that was my first experience of leaving home, that's when I was the most scared, not coming to Australia because I already had the taste of it. And what happened in Manipal was I got this thing of lactose intolerance. So one day I woke up and I started feeling, really weird. And then for the next 3 months, I went back and forth between the GP and the specialists and everything. And they concluded why don't you try leaving dairy? We think that all these symptoms that you have are amounting to like a lactose intolerance, something. So when I left dairy, it turned out to be lactose intolerance. But the 3 months that I spent just going to hospitals and doing all the tests and everything all by myself is an experience I thought I never would have to undertake. Because medically speaking, like I've always been thankfully very healthy and I've never had any issues. And suddenly I leave home and out of nowhere I have this thing where every third day I'm going for like a blood test and then I'm going to the hospital between classes. And after the blood test, I used to feel dizzy and I have to make my way back to my accommodation by myself as well because obviously my friends had classes and everything, so they couldn't always support me. And I had to take care of my food as well. Like everywhere I go, there was dairy in the food. So I had to sort of manage my food and changed my diet. And I was just this 19-year-old who, like, I used to eat cottage cheese all the time. And I realized after 3 months that, oh, cottage cheese is made from milk as well. So I was just like a stupid 19-year-old. I didn't think about these things like, butter has milk and this. So it was this whole drama of 6 months that I had to go through with hospitals, changing my diet. And it was like a traumatic experience for me to do all that alone as someone who just moved out of home. But once I figured all that out and once I got back on my feet from it, I was like, there's nothing we can't do now. Like, if we can handle this, medical thing that I've always been scared of, like, how will I do this alone and how will I manage everything? So once I got through this, I was like, there's nothing that I can't do alone now. Because I always had confidence in my financial ability to earn with videos and photos and everything. This was one thing I was always scared of. Like, what if I had to go to hospitals alone and stuff? So I think I would have never found out that I'm capable of managing this as well on my own if I never left home. So that was an interesting experience, I would say. Yeah. That's why I'm having this soy milk flat white. Yeah.
Not just for style, right?
Yeah, not just for style.
Okay. If a young person would sit in front of you and say, with your experience,
Yeah.
can you give me some guidance, 5 tips, 3 tips, whatever they are, for me to be successful when I move overseas to university?
Yeah.
What comes top of mind?
The number one thing I would say is hang out with different cultures. That's the bottom line of it. I think education, no disrespect to any university that's over here, but the education isn't something that you are paying for. Like, you will mostly end up doing things by yourself, and it's not like a world-class education that you won't get anywhere else on the internet, or they will teach you something that doesn't exist in the world. It's all sort of clockwork kind of education. So you're not coming here for education, I would say. You're just coming here for the experiences. And after you graduate university, like I have, for the past 3 years, I've had a pretty, boring schedule of just going to work, coming home, maybe some fitness. But university is the time where you get to be spontaneous. You get to do all these amazing experiences and hang out with different cultures. Because in the past 4 years, if there's anything that has taught me the most, it's been hanging out with people from different backgrounds, even more than my university degree. So that's something that that's my only tip. Yeah.
We've heard of the finance pros in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Then from all of the big tech companies, we've heard of the tech bros.
Yep.
You're trying to make the science bros cool again, right? What do we need to understand about careers in science that a lot of us don't know about?
There are some people who are naturally passionate about some things. Like, I'm passionate about photography. You might be passionate about something else. So let's leave the natural passionate people aside. Let's look at someone who's neutral, who doesn't have an idea of what he wants to do in his career and everything. So if you put him through the current education systems that we have, especially in India, I thought when I was in 9th grade, I thought I wanted to be a scientist when I grew up. Now, this is just a coincidence that I became one, but the world did everything to make sure that I don't go and become a scientist, I would say. Because I used to love studying science. I used to love understanding things. But then I went through this process of examinations like JEE and everything. And then the position or rank that I scored in those exams literally looked like a phone number. The first 10,000 people get to do all these amazing things. And then people after that, you are, the career's over, science is not for you kind of scenario. So my rank literally looked like a phone number. And that's what made me believe, maybe I'm not smart enough for science. So science was always like this one thing you just do for scoring marks. You just do it for the assignments, biology, chemistry, physics. But then when I actually became a scientist, when I started doing these things, when I started looking into DNA and looking at the medical aspect of it, real world applications, I realized, oh shit, this is like getting paid to have fun. Imagine you're going to work every single day and you're generating knowledge that no one in the world has ever done before. So it's like every day you go, it will be something new, it will be something different. And that's the whole purpose of research, to do things no one in the world has ever done before. So it's a very interesting career and you can have lots of fun in it. But I think with the current setup we have around the education system in most countries, science gets discounted as sort of this nerdy, boring thing. And that's what I'm trying to change through this concept of science bros.
I love it. I even like how you have taken the deep work you do and given us as an audience a place to connect. I love when you said, I went to work today to put ChatGPT to work for a little while. That's a really good connect, because a lot of us try to use ChatGPT but don't really probably know what to do or how to use it. In your experience, how has AI made you better, faster, and the ability to think and create a little more deeply?
Yep. I think a lot of people look at AI wrong as well. Like it's like everyone is scared of AI replacing people. When I think if you truly have a skill, like it's very hard for AI to replace you. If your job is being replaced by AI, I think it was not a skill to begin with, or you were not deep enough in that skill to begin with. I think once you have the understanding of the fundamentals behind anything, behind photography, behind videography, like you do photography. And for example, if you have to edit a photo and you versus me, like I have, let's say, no idea about how photography, Lightroom or anything works, versus you knowing everything that's to be done. Now you can just go into the software and tell it everything that you want to be done into the image, and it will produce a better result than me just telling the software that, edit this into a nice image. Then it will go on, it will do this own thing. But you as a domain expert, you can give it the exact instructions the software needs, and it will do the work much better than any prompt that I can build, any generic prompt that I can build. So it's like if I was in the industry right now, I would just focus on building my fundamentals and developing specific domain knowledge and figuring out ways of how I can make AI execute that domain knowledge for me. That's what I've been doing in science and Instagram as well. Like I've been training this Instagram GPT, if you will. So I sort of try to dissect every single video I have on the smallest level, and I try to extract insights from it. And then I have trained this GPT kind of thing. So, and now it has sort of started writing like me. If I open any random chat in ChatGPT, it won't write good scripts. And I know those scripts are not going to work. But if I give it the prompts that I now know about, it is going to write a script that will do really well. And it has written script for me that have done really well on the platform. So I think no one is getting replaced by AI especially in these creative skills. It's just that once you gain the domain knowledge, you can actually replace people faster than AI can replace people. So yeah.
I agree. I believe that AI is going to make us a better version of ourselves before anything else happens. I don't know what the future holds and what super intelligence would look like for all of us. But first, it will make you a better version of you. A GPT working on Instagram, it sounds fun. Sounds very sciencey also. Tell me about why you started creating reels on Instagram.
So for the past 5 or 6 years, I've always had this thing with videography and cameras. When I was 11, my dad handed me this old camera of his, and I started filming videos on it, and I've never looked back ever since. Like I just fell in love with the process and everything. And over the years, when he saw me doing all this, he kept buying some equipment for me and make sure I had everything I needed to just play and develop this as a hobby. So I knew when I was 18 or 19 that whatever I do in the world, as education, as job, in the end, I will always come back to videography. Like I know that even today, even with science, like I enjoy doing science, but in the next 10 years, I know most probably I will not be a scientist. Like I already know that. So now the thing was, videography is a very deep field, like tech. Like, I could use my tech to go into finance. I could use my tech to go into science, software, anything. Same with videos. I could go into wedding videography. I could go into social media. I could go into parties, I could go into university videos. So I was like, let's just try everything. So for the past 4 years, I have just been tinkering around with things like different video businesses, different video models and everything. And I came to the conclusion that as a single person, I have only 2 hands and I have only a weekend to do the work because I have a full-time job as well. Now with wedding videos and stuff, if I get really good and I have all the clients in the world, I could probably only still do like, maybe 2 weddings a week, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And without a team, it's very difficult to scale it up. Like, how much can I do? Maybe let's fit in 2 more weddings. Let's do 2 on Saturday. Let's do 2 on Sunday. Even then it will be just 4 weddings by myself. So I was like, what is something we can do that the amount of hours we put in remains the same, but the output we can get from it is exponential. It can potentially be exponential. And the answer was social media. Now, if I had 1,500 followers 2 years back, I was still putting in the same amount of work, right? Like I still wake up, I spend 2 hours filming, 2 hours editing, 4 hours of work. That was for 1,500 followers. And now the same amount of work goes to 40,000 followers. If everything goes well, maybe it will go to 100,000, 200,000 if it keeps going. So I just want to do work where the hours you put in remain the same, but the output does not scale linearly, it goes exponentially. So that was my thinking behind going on social media. Yeah.
Where does that thinking come from? Is it from your family? Is it from somebody who inspires you or mentors you that you follow? Is it from your education? Because it's very clear thinking.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I just want to do something really big. It's a fact so my father, from these odd jobs, he built this marketing company which has multiple offices in India with domestic and international clients with over 100 employees, and he does all these amazing things. So I was like, if my father could do this coming from a zero financial background, and if I now have a nice financial background to start from, I should at least be able to do 5x or 10x that he has. It would make sense. So I just want to do something really big. I don't want to do anything that's small. I feel I look at research the same way. I go into work every single day. 5 years, 6 years, maybe nothing will happen. But one day, maybe we make a discovery that saves 10 lives, 100 lives, or 30 years later, because this process is so slow, 30 years later, when I wake up one morning, I open the newspaper and I see that the project that I was working on has maybe been implemented in public health and it's now being used to save people's lives. So that's again exponential gain. I'm still putting in 7 hours a week, but the output that could come from that is something I can't even imagine. So that's the same thinking I have with content. I'll just keep doing this, and hopefully one day I can take it to a really big level where it's greater than myself kind of a scenario. So that's the thinking.
I'm asking this question with a lot of admiration.
Yeah.
We live in a world that if you want a date, I don't know which side, I'm too old for that, you swipe either left or right.
Yeah.
Okay? If you want to order food, you get on Uber Eats and you order your food.
Yeah.
If you want to watch a movie, you don't have to wait for film dates and release dates and all of that. You go to Netflix and you watch it.
Yeah.
We live in a world of instant gratification. But you're wired differently. You even told me, and I know this experience of building a YouTube channel, that you built a YouTube channel in India. I have looked at your channel. It's got about 12,000 followers even now.
Yeah.
And your channel, if you decide to pick it up tomorrow, will start going.
Yep.
Right? So you built something without any reward.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll get some followers. Yes, your auntie will watch it. Yes, a friend will watch it. Yes, you make some YouTube AdSense. But you got a reward later on when you came to Australia.
Yeah.
Where have you got this thinking that you're very comfortable putting in effort and knowing that I'm going to put this consistently, that the reward's going to come in at the right time? A lot of us go, I've done this for a year, I'm a failure.
Yeah.
Or I've got the opportunity to meet with some really amazing, much more talented than I could ever be management trainees working in government organizations. When I speak to them 2 months into the job, they go, I'm going to leave. And I'm going, why? Oh, I'm not making a difference. I'm like, you've just joined a multi-million-dollar organization as a trainee.
Yeah.
There is no way you're going to make a difference in 2 months.
Yeah.
However brilliant you are, we need to first understand you, trust you. You need to understand yourself and then start contributing. Where does this ability of yours to go, I'm going to put in the effort and I know the rewards will come in the right time. Where does that wiring come from?
If it were that easy, everyone would be doing it and everyone would be successful. That's the baseline of it, right? Like if you pick any field, like research, like most Nobel Prize winners work for 20 years, 30 years without even knowing that the work they are doing will win a Nobel Prize. And at the end of 30 years, maybe they, win this Nobel Prize. And that's like 0.00001 scientists of the world. But if you go and ask any Nobel laureate, like, why did you do this research? They will never say it's for the Nobel Prize. Like, it's for the curiosity. It's for the fun they have when they wake up every morning. It's for the fun they have on an hourly basis of seeing those small results working, of their intuition making sense. And eventually you keep doing this for a long period of time. And even if you ask any Nobel laureate, like, if you didn't win Nobel Prize, would this all be worth it? They would say yes, because they had fun. So I think it just makes sense to me in a way where I've been creating these Instagram videos for a while. And even though I haven't got what I want exactly out of it, like obviously it's a long process and I will get to it. But there are some small things that keep happening along the way which you don't expect. Like I've made a couple of really good friends who have just, watched my videos. And they're like, oh, are you here in Canberra? I'm like, yeah, I'm in here in Canberra. I met them and I've become really good friends with them. And then I go to different cities. Like I go to Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide. I made friends there as well, purely from Instagram. Now, I value my relations so much, especially coming from a small place like Rajpura, where I've grown up in local communities. Like whenever I find good connections, that itself is like, enough of a reward for me. If you tell me that you would make these, 5 really good friends if you put in this much work on Instagram, I would still do it. So it's like all these little goals along the way that indirectly keep happening that have kept me going. And I'm not running behind a one big reward. I'm just going for the process, trying to just enjoy things. And the basis of everything, as I said, I enjoy it so much, I would keep doing it even if nothing comes out of it. So, yeah.
How important is connections in your life?
I feel like it's the most important thing to me because of my family background again. I just, I say like there's no use of being successful if you don't have good people to celebrate it with. So that's the thinking I have, yeah.
If I think carefully and ask you about what pain, what emotion, or what message were you trying to convey to the world when you posted your first Instagram reel?
So my first reel was in January 2024, if I remember correctly. So I was always scared of cooking. For some reason, I just thought I would never be good at it. And even when I was coming here, I used to always think that, this is going to be the hardest thing that I ever do. And when I came here, I just fell in love with cooking. Like the complete opposite happened. And then I was like, I started cooking for fun. I started having friends over. I started cooking for friends. And it became this whole, social thing that I was doing. And then I was like, wait a second. Like if I think like this, there may be, hundreds of people who think like this. So this is a story that's worth sharing. So it just came out of this natural emotion. And this is the time when I had decided that I don't want to do local videography anymore. So I had already decided I will go all in on social media. So I just filmed this video. I just shared my story raw. Like I had zero idea about how to make a reel work. Like I just filmed it very naturally. And that video ended up doing 150K views or something. Just the first video I put up. And from that video, I started backtracking. Okay, what's working and what's not working. So it was just like I was just doing things. I was sharing my emotions, and then I was backtracking what works, what makes the reach go, and what goes viral and stuff. So I didn't start with the fact that I want to sort of go viral or do get followers or views or anything. I just started from just sharing my emotions. I was like, if this is a problem I face, maybe 100 other people face it as well. So that was the only motivation I had.
I love cooking videos because you break down lots of things. You also throw away some of my favorite food like my Maggie. What are some of your favorite recipes from your cooking journey?
Growing up as a family, we've always had this special emotion to cooking. And we always see cooking as something you just don't do when you're hungry or when you want to be fed. It's just sort of this sacred activity that we have in our household, similar to a lot of other South Asian households, I suppose, where we don't think about cooking as meal prepping or not thinking about batch cooking. It's just the whole process and the beauty of the ingredients and the recipes that have been passed down from generations to generations. And even if my mother gives me the same recipe and I do things the exact same way, it still won't come out the way my mother makes it. And that's, I think, the beauty of cooking for me. So when I moved here, my mother makes this chickpea curry that I've always loved. And when I was leaving, I had it a couple of times before going, but I was like, I can't cook this for sure. But after moving here, she taught me how to cook it on video call. And I was able to recreate the similar taste, and that gave me the initial confidence I needed. And it was sort of this comforting thing as well, where when I used to feel homesick, I used to just cook some of these dishes. So we have this tradition in our family where we have these yellow lentils that are cooked in this special pot. And whenever I tell people, they laugh at me, but for the most part of the last 20 years, my family has had that for dinner every single day. Like that's sort of our tradition, like the special way of making these yellow lentils. And one of the most emotional moments I had was when my parents visited me here for the first time. I was like, I'll cook you those yellow lentils. And when I cooked them, the way she has been cooking for me for the past 15 years, and she loved it and she enjoyed it. I think that was like a highlight success moment for me, even beyond, science and videos and everything. I think that is one of the moments I look back at. Yeah.
And I'm sure it's for your mother also.
Yeah.
Because, you try to make from us, I'm thinking South Asian, a doctor, a lawyer, one of them, or somebody who can cook like us.
Yeah.
I'm hoping your mother was much better than our mothers, because when you ask on the phone, how much of this do you put? It's like, put a little.
Yeah.
How much is a little? Is it a teaspoon? Is it a tablespoon? No, put a little more. Yeah. Put a pinch of it.
Yeah.
What's a pinch of it? So recipes are very interesting coming from South Asian parents.
Yeah.
But it's also, food creates that emotional connect.
Yeah.
How have you taken that emotional connect that you felt with food and transferred that to whoever who's following you on Instagram?
Yeah.
How have you done that?
So I had this crazy idea where, I enjoy cooking so much. Why not do something with cooking? So before that, I was creating content only for international students. But then because I'm a storyteller at heart, like I just can't stick to one niche. Like, I create content for international students or people who want to move abroad. I create content as Kirat. I think, like, let's just put it that way. So I was like, I want to expand into whatever I love. And then I had this crazy idea that I wrote in my diary like 8 months back about cooking. I was like, you know what, let's just pick it up. So I filmed this first video, and that single video got me 25,000 followers overnight. So it was like I posted that video, it went to do like 4.5 million views or something like that. And 25,000 of my followers come from that single video. So I was like, you know what? I was sitting on this idea for 8 months. Like I had written this down somewhere in my diary. I was sitting on it for 8 months. I was like, people really enjoy this. Let's just keep doing it. So I did it for 1 year. And then I went to Melbourne and I went to meet some people who watch my videos. Like I put up a story, like, if you live in Melbourne, if you want to say hi, I'll be at this location during this time. Let's just meet up. And then one person comes to me and he says that I watched this video of yours and I've been having it for dinner every day. So that was sort of a moment where I was like, from my mother, it came to me, then it went to the internet, and now this person is eating it for dinner every day. So it's sort of a fun thing that happened. But then I decided it was time to move on to bigger things. So I have stopped cooking videos for the past 7-8 months to focus on other things, but they will come back. Yeah.
How do you structure a video that creates connection and reach?
Yeah, so I have this personal philosophy that I have written in my notes where whenever I start writing a video, it has to meet that criteria. And this is something that I don't think you will find on the internet or from anyone. So I have this theory where whenever I start writing a video, this might sound funny, but I imagine that I'm on a date with a girl that I find really pretty. So that's what I imagine. And now my goal is to structure this story in a way where I have to grab her interest. I make sure she doesn't lose interest in me till the end. And I'm also clear on my positioning. Do I want to come out as a hero out of this story to impress her? Do I want to come out as vulnerable, to come out as emotionally smart to her? Like, what do I want this girl to feel about me? So I start by thinking that. So once I'm clear that, this is the emotion I want her to feel, then I start by thinking, okay, which is the hook, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people spend all their time on the hook because it's the easiest thing to justify. Like, if a video works, you say, okay, hook was good. If a video doesn't work, you say, okay, hook was bad. I feel like a lot of people just focus on the hook, but that's not my personal philosophy. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's not, but it's just not my way of working. So what I do is you tell the hook, which is something that the girl should instantly catch on to. But the most important sentence, I think, is the second sentence. And I'll give you an example from one of my videos. So I had to make this video where I was extracting my own DNA. So I was having lunch with some of my science bros, and one of them said that, Kirat, why don't we do a video where we extract your DNA and we do some analysis on it? How cool would that be? And that sort of ignited both the scientist and the storyteller in me. I was like, this is the most beautiful concept I've heard in a long time, like extracting my own DNA and trying to find something from it. So then I was like, okay, I will start the video by saying I'm going to extract my DNA. And that is a good enough hook, in my opinion, that someone is trying to look into their own body. But then I was like, what can we do in the second sentence to make sure people are sort of into this video, even with the hook? So I made 4 videos. The only thing I changed was the second sentence. And in the second sentence, I was like, what insecurities do people have with their DNA? That they would have sometime thought that, if my DNA was different, I would be like this. For example, some people have, early hair loss, for example, and that's related to genetics as well. Now I am 5'7". A lot of people would consider me short. So I was like, height is one of the insecurities that people have. So I just identified 4 insecurities, same video, same everything. I was like, let's just change the insecurity. Second sentence change. One of the videos did 30 times more views than all the other video. So it's not the hook. Like, it's the whole narrative that you create around the video, and it's like the little curiosity loops that you keep opening. So I just have this imagination that I'm on a date with this girl. What emotion do I want her to feel, and how will I write the script in a way that she never gets bored and she feels happy at the end of the video. So even the last sentence is the most important thing to me. So I have sort of this scripting philosophy that I follow with every single video. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. For somebody who is not 100% hooked on the hooks, your hooks are amazing. When I read through them, they are very topical.
Yeah.
And they are keeping that space for, like you said, to open those curiosity loops. Like, when I see India playing in Canberra, suddenly Shubman Gill is your classmate, right? And I don't know why you would tell this girl on a date about Shubman Gill. Don't do that. But even the Ed Sheeran concert.
Yeah.
You are telling me that Ed Sheeran made a change in your life. I'm like, do you know Ed Sheeran?
Yeah.
How do you manage your content, the topicality of your content? Because you're not doing like news and stuff like that. But you're still looking at what's out there, what's in the news, what's trending. How do you balance those two?
I just if I'm making a video about Shubman Gill, which I did, I want to make sure that the main character in that video is not Shubman Gill. It's Kirat Alreja. So I shared this story of myself, of how he was my classmate and we used to run into him once every few months in the corridor, and how I feel when I look at him. So the video, even though you might think it's about Shubman Gill, it's not. It's just about me. And some people have recognized that in the comments as well. Like, it's refreshing to see someone not being jealous of their classmate's success and all. So I'm just I believe that every single video and every single topic in this world has already been made. Like, if you want to find it, you can. Like, I will not tell you anything new today that's probably not already on the internet. But no one can tell my stories for me, right? Like, you will not find the thing that I'm telling about my hometown or my hooks, personal philosophy and everything on the internet. So I just try to focus on something that's unique to me. So even though I could go to the concert and make a video about Ed Sheeran, like there are 5 million other videos on Ed Sheeran, I'll make a video on where I again became the main character and not Ed Sheeran. Like how I listen to his interviews and how I try to piece together his creative process. So again, after watching that video, yes, the person will see the Ed Sheeran concert, but they will know a little bit about me as well. And I just want to do this for a long period of time. So by the end of the next 2, 3, 4 years, people know Kirat as a whole through these little videos. So yeah.
I think we're already getting to know Kirat very well. Because there is a warmth in what you're doing. There is some really strong emotion in what you're doing. And I'm trying to reflect, because even your spilt milk video was about you, but it spoke to, hey, I've not been to this before. Yeah. And you only know one song in there, but you were still going to go for it. I also loved your science bros going on this work trip to Sydney, and how you ended up at Don't Tell Auntie. I think it's in Surrey Hills, a nice restaurant that I've really enjoyed. But you also said the only thing that's missing is an auntie asking me when I'm going to get married. And that's the sense of relatability to an audience that understands you. Do you intentionally bring that warmth, that homeliness, that comfort into your videos, or just something that comes naturally?
I just feel like, again, like my philosophy is like the video should be written in that date kind of a sense. So it's the closest thing you'll get to hanging out with me one-on-one. Like, so if for what we are doing right now, you're talking to me one-on-one, that's how I want everyone to feel when they watch the video. So it's like my personality has to sort of shine through the videos. Otherwise, again, every single topic, every single thing has already been done on the internet. So there's no point of doing the same thing again and getting views and followers. I just believe that I want to be give the people of experience of hanging out with me one-on-one, and make sure only those people follow me who like my videos. They are probably the ones I would enjoy hanging out with in person as well. So it's like bringing like-minded people together with the same sense of humor, relatability and everything. Yeah.
You give so much value to your audience, whether it's information, emotion, laughter, all of that. What do these videos give you back emotionally that your career can never give you?
I feel like both the careers that I have are equally rewarding in their own ways, in some sense. Like, I can't equate being able to save even one life in my lifetime with anything else. Like, I think that's the highest honor of service, that I can get as a scientist. But obviously, keeping that aside, I think with videos, my only dream in life is for me to be able to wake up every day, tell stories, and have people enjoy it. So that's the only thing that I want. It's happening on a small scale right now, with the following and the people that I have on Instagram. But it's what brings me satisfaction. I want to share my viewpoint, my stories with the world, and have people enjoy it. Like, that's the only thing I want, and I feel that's the most rewarding thing that my career gives me.
As a storyteller, there is a storytelling arc.
Yeah.
There is characters that pop up, there is tension that comes in, there is resolution that comes in. Kirat, how similar is storytelling to real life?
I feel like I believe that good stories happen to those who can tell them. So this is something that I've genuinely believed in, that if a person has good stories to tell, it's because their viewpoint in life is like that. They view everything in terms of like the way you describe storytelling, which was like when I got invited to the Spilt Milk concert, like my friend was telling me that you should come to this concert for the past 3 months. But I kept saying no, like I don't know any songs. But then the ACT government sponsored a couple of passes for me to go to this concert. And then I was like, you know what, this is a good story. That my friend has been trying to convince me for the past couple of months. But I told him that I'm not going to enjoy the concert because I don't know any songs. So this becomes a good story. It has a natural premise of the friend telling. It has a surprise of me getting passes out of nowhere. And it has a natural ending where, do I think you should go to a concert where you don't know any song? So it's like you just, when this happened, I was like, this is a good story. So good stories happen to those who can tell them. Like if you can see it through, it will be a good story, right? So, and that's what happened. I didn't sit down to make the narrative for the video. The life already made the narrative for me. I just told it. So yeah, that's how I think life and storytelling go together. Yeah.
Is there a skill that you can step back and observe better than others sometimes of what's happening? Because a lot of the time, I agree with you. For good storytellers, life happens. Life brings those moments, but I'm sure it brings it for other people also. It's just that our minds are sometimes crowded or distracted, or emotions like anger are showing up that we don't see what's in front of us. Are there any practices that you do to keep your mind fresh so you can see these opportunities?
Actually, this is the part that I'm sometimes embarrassed about, because my whole life is sort of designed around, because my best ideas come to me passively. Like, you know, right now, if I go out and I'm driving back home, I'll get some idea without thinking about it, like passively. Like the Science Pro idea came to me when I was walking with my groceries back home, like just out of nowhere. And that's how I get most of my ideas, because it's always in the background and it's always running. So I just design my life in a way where I can maximize my thought of clarity. Now, because this is sort of my job as well. So I need to do everything to make sure that the ideas keep flowing and everything keeps happening. So basics I do, like I never skip 8 hours of sleep. No matter what happens, I just sleep for 8 hours. I eat nutritionally complete meals, so I don't get like, you know, blood sugar crashes or anything. So I do some basic things. I exercise well to make sure that my mind is always healthy. And then I've quit drinking alcohol as well, so that I don't have any moments where I'm not in the right state of mind and I don't have any hangovers or anything. So it's just, it's quite hard, but I have sort of designed my life in a way where I have this thought of clarity in the background always, and the best ideas can keep coming to me.
Sometimes when you make lifestyle changes, your friends group, your circle of friends go, oh, you've changed. That can be a bit isolating. Not always do you understand what that isolation means. Sometimes you're in your personal development journey that this group of friends, this group of peers, these practices might not really fit in. but you're not developed enough in your personal growth journey to find that next realm of people that can take you to the next level. Tell me about sometimes feeling a little bit out of place. Tell me about sometimes feeling a little bit isolated. How do you cope with those?
So I've had countless moments in my life where my choices have led to other people pulling back from me. Like I've had cases where, because I became so busy, I stopped spending a lot of time with a group of friends, and then they started pulling back, thinking that, okay, Kirat doesn't value us enough. Even though I tried to explain them, like, it's not about me valuing you, it's about what's really important at the moment and what can't be skipped. So I tried to save those relations, but I couldn't. And it has happened a lot of times to me. But lately I've just realized that even though I've lost people along the way, I've also retained people no matter how much I have changed. So now I've just accepted the fact that, okay, in this lifetime, every 1 year or 2 years, I'm going to have some kind of change in my life. Like last to last year when I started making reels, I was so into it that I would barely spend time with my friends. I would just call them to my apartment or host a dinner once in a while, and I would not sort of be making spontaneous plans, but they stick through that, right? Okay, if I tell them that, I can't come hang out with you right now, I'll make time sometime later. They understand that. Those who don't, I just lose them along the way. It's like you have to accept the consequences of the choices you make kind of scenario. So I've just stopped thinking about it. I've just accepted that you do what you want to, because no one I think should sacrifice their career or what they want to do in life for people who don't understand it. So I just keep moving along the way. And if I become lonely, or if things don't work out with people during phases of time, then I just understand it's part of the choices that I've made. So yeah, it's part of the journey. But I've been really lucky to have so many supportive people that have always been around me, always so supportive. So I'm very lucky in that regard. Yeah.
When you're on this journey, when you're making sacrifices for a better life, when you're making sacrifices to invest time in something you deeply believe in, when do you see the audience really connecting with you? When do you see that little community forming around you? You gave me an example of the little meetup you had in Melbourne. When do you see that audience connect happening? And what are some of those markers?
I think one of the skills I lack at the moment, and I'm trying to work through it, like I know how to get views, I know how to make videos work. I can probably pick up a video script and optimize it to the point where it performs to the maximum amount of views that topic can get. So I've developed these skills, but one skill that I lack is building an engaging community online around those videos. Like it's something that it's my only goal of this year. Actually, it's like for the past 1 year, I've had the same amount of followers, and that's by choice. Like I've stopped focusing on follower growth. The problem that I'm solving right now is how do you build an engaging online community with the followers you have, within the followers. And it's something that I'm struggling with. But with the success I've had so far, like I've had these little events that I've done. So I did this one event in Sydney where I organized it with one of my friends, and we just put up a story and a video saying like, come here, we'll be here. And around 80 people showed up in Sydney, which was like a random group of 80 people just showing up to say hello and stuff. And we had a nice 3-4 hour discussion with them. And then again in Melbourne, I hosted this small meetup with people. I meet people in Canberra all the time. And it's just, whenever these people meet me, like they're always really happy. They have a story with one of my videos. Like, you said this in the video, I relate to it. Or you made this recipe and I enjoy making it. So it's the process of sort of looking at people. It's one thing to see the numbers on the screen, but it's another thing to meet the people behind those numbers and talk to them. So I think that has been a really nice part of my journey, but I would be honest and say I'm really not good at doing that online right now, and I'm trying to improve on it. So yeah.
And the reason I ask that is a lot of really successful creators sometimes don't realize, and I'm sure you do, that the platform is owned by somebody else. And the platform can change their rules of engagement, the platform can go away. But if you have a community that you built somewhere, that's going to sustain you as you move forward. How do you balance creating for views or growth versus that truth-telling side of it also?
So I'm stuck in this difficult situation now, because previously I was creating videos on specific topics. Like, this is the problem and the video solves this problem. Or if you look at, you say business, you could look at food videos, you look at someone telling you about moving abroad. These videos solve a clear problem. Like, you go to this restaurant, you try these 3 things, this was good, this was not good. Or moving abroad, these are the 3 things you should do, 5 things you should not do, kind of scenario. So these videos have clear narratives, clear goals, and I would say it's I don't want to discount someone else's work, but it's relatively easier to make these videos work. And that's what I have been doing for 2 years as well. And I mastered this art of making this topical videos work, and I'm very confident in it. But I've just realized that the videos that I want to make work should be around Kirat Al-Reja. So the only asset that I want now is not views or followers. I want this community around Kirat Al-Reja. Make sure only the like-minded people come on the video. If 5,000 like-minded people watch that video versus 50,000 random audience, I would take the 5,000. So I'm sort of moving away from numbers and sort of targeting who I want on the page. And it's been a really slow and difficult process, honestly. Again, if I keep saying this, if it were that easy, everyone would do it, right? Like, so it's a hard problem that I'm trying to solve. For now, I'm not going to be focusing on creating for growth, at least for this year. I'm going to focus on how to make my current 45,000 followers engage. Like, I think I've lost 2,000 or 3,000 followers in the last month as well. But I'm totally okay with it, because those people, they don't relate to all of my content. So I would rather lose them than have them on my page. So that's the goal I'm going on for this year.
I've heard most of the social media gurus say riches are in the niches.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work for my brain. Because you articulated a little while ago that, how you get ideas. How I get ideas are very random.
Yeah.
Or how I get ideas are based on what I'm doing. I started creating on YouTube. Then we started traveling as a family. So that's what it is. I'm trying to teach my little girls some Sri Lankan cooking while my mom's at home. So their grandmother, that's what's on the channel. My daughter started playing basketball. Suddenly I'm shooting reels and videos for the UC Capitals. I didn't even know anything about this team. Yeah. But through that, I am happy. Yeah. Through that, I'm able to express my passion. Through that, I'm able to be there for those who mean the most to me. How do you balance building an audience versus the personal branding and that self-care for yourself?
I've had this realization in the past 3 months that content creation is sort of this, not content creation, but personal brand creation. The path that I am going on is like, I can cut out all the distractions from my life. I can cut out hanging out with friends. I can cut out playing sports, going to the gym excessively during the week. But then I realized that's what makes Kirat. Like, my friends make me, the things I do, the fun I have, that's the content. Like, so if I start cutting things out, I'm left with nothing to tell. There are no stories to tell anymore. So this is again, that's what I was saying. Personal brand building and this is a very difficult path, a slow path of content creation, where you will not see numbers jacking up, because the videos that you're making are not instant problems that are being solved. It's about you and it's about your unique journey. So it's going to take a long time for people to connect and for you to figure out how to make your journey accessible to the audience. So for the last year, I was actually cutting out a lot of life from my life to work on the videos, but I realized that it used to work for my old content, and it used to work beautifully. But now for this new style of content, it's not working. So now I'm going the other way. I'm cutting out working on videos to sort of live more, and that has been a welcome change, because now I have more stories to tell, I have more experiences, and now I just have to figure out how to be very efficient in scripting and getting that video out, getting that video out. So that's the problem that I'm working on right now. I have actually uninstalled every single app on my phone, and I have this second phone where I keep Instagram, Facebook, and all the other things. So now I have this main phone where I don't get any notifications that are not useful to me, and I mostly just use it for general calling, texting, of course, but writing scripts wherever I can, to make sure that I'm efficient. I don't have to cut out my life to sit down and write scripts. I can sort of be more focused on the go and make scripts happen. So that's what I'm going for.
Are you slowly drifting into the world of productivity, bro?
I hate to use these words because I don't want to brand myself as, this person who does deep work and has all the lights switched off in his home. And so I sort of hate it, but it's what you have to do. So I can't have everything in life. I can't be expected to build a growing audience while also enjoying life to the fullest. So there needs to be some middle ground. I guess just some discipline. I don't want to call myself a productivity guru or bro, but yeah, it's some of the things like this phone thing is something I've heard from Ed Sheeran and a couple of other artists as well. So that's what got to me. Like, they don't use their phones. Like, they don't have all these apps on their phone. Ed Sheeran has only his iPad on him all the time, where he keeps writing the lyrics, and he replies only using emails and not text messages. And then another one of the artists I respect, Veer Das, he's a comedian.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. So he has this philosophy as well. And he was the initial inspiration for this idea, where he has two phones. Main phone is only for his creative work, and the second phone is for his distraction. So I call my second phone my distraction phone. I use it every night for 20-25 minutes. But yeah.
Outside Ed Sheeran and Veer Das, who has brought value to your life? Who inspires you? Outside Ed Sheeran, Veer Das, and your parents.
I feel like any famous artist who has come from a small town. That's why I relate to these people a lot. Ed Sheeran comes from a small town in UK called Ipswich, which is again like the Rajpura of England. And then some Punjabi artists, like there's this artist called Karan Aujla. He comes from a small town that's like a 2-hour drive from my hometown. Again, similar story. So anyone who has had this sort of same journey of being a small town guy and then making it big is sort of my inspiration. Yeah.
How do you monetize digital content?
Yep. It's the second goal I have for this year. So the first goal, as I said, is the digital community, because when you have distribution, everything follows, including money. That's what I believe. The second goal is digital assets. So I get a lot of brand deals, but I'm really not good that way. I've been rejecting most of them because I want to spend all my time right now on figuring out how to make this online community work. And if I keep taking brand deals, I'm not going to be able to focus on this goal. But some things that I've tried so far is launching digital products. So last year I launched this $10 PDF that I made, which was solving a very specific problem for my audience. And because I had never done it before, I didn't know what to expect, how much it will sell and all. But it sold around 100 copies. So that was nice to see that if I spend a day making this PDF, I can sell it forever. Like it's sort of like passively selling. Like even if I open my phone right now, maybe a couple of copies I've sold. Although the way I set up the payment gateway and everything meant I lost about 40% in commissions. So that's the learning experience you get. So now with my second digital product, I'm setting it up in a way that I only lose 10% in commissions. But that's something that I'm diving into then obviously brand deals and everything. But I would say making money out of Instagram is not my number one goal right now. So yeah.
And I think it's that ability to understand, because I've made that very same mistake. If you go with the wrong person, you're giving up about 40% in commission.
Yeah.
But it's a learning.
Yeah, it's the price of.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's the cost of learning.
Yeah.
Right? And we've got to go through those learning journeys and learn. Kirti spoke about your communities, your meetups. Is that where people can get your insights, your intelligence, and all of the markers along your journey? Because a lot of us, we create things, we go through journeys, we achieve certain, let's call it escape velocity. But it's not linear. You've made a whole heap of mistakes. And if somebody knew some of those mistakes, they don't have to make the same mistake. Yeah. But you have to be open enough to share that mistake. Yeah. Where do people see you, find you to, hey, ask you, what are the 2 mistakes you made in digital product creation, in launching something? Yeah. Where do you have those chats?
I think one of the other skills that I'm missing right now is if someone opens my Instagram and they watch my videos, they sort of start thinking I'm this super smart science guy who has his life figured out and everything, because my stories got biased in a way where I only show the positive and exciting stuff. This year, another change I'm trying to make is start showing some of the negative, not negative, but less exciting side as well. Some more emotional side of it, things that I've done which are not exactly, very flashy or going viral and everything. So I want to sort of balance my personality in a way where people don't look up to me, they look with me kind of scenario. They look at me and see, look, he's like us, he's had some difficult experiences as well. So currently my page is unfortunately biased towards only the positive side of things, but slowly I'm bringing this change. So that's what my digital products have been about. The first digital product was about this English exam every immigrant has to go through. And when I gave that, I was like, you know what? Whatever I read on the internet, it wasn't enough for me to go through this exam. And a lot of misinformation was there as well. I was like, if I can make like a $10 PDF, it can save people $500 of a second attempt that they might have to do. So that was the philosophy behind it. And that's how I sold it. And now I'm making the second product where I'm listing every mistake I've made in the last 4 years and selling it as, for $15, you save 4 years worth of mistakes. So that's the positioning that I'm giving. So this is how I'm trying to sort of share my mistakes and everything as well. It comes through content, comes through digital products. But this year I want to focus more on sharing not just positive stories, but like some of the negative things that have happened with me as well. Yeah.
Is that comfortable?
It's not. That's why I've not been able to do it. Like it's the hardest thing in the world. Like, because it was easier at first when I had, sometimes people meet me and tell me it must be easy for you to create videos because now you have a following and now you know how to do things. But I would argue it's more difficult now, because previously I used to post a video and maybe 5-10 random people were watching it, 1,000 people were watching it. And now it's like my housemate is watching it, my colleagues are watching it, my friends back home are watching it, my family, my grandparents watch every video I make. So it's like I have to think 10 times before I make my statements and before I say anything, which is sort of has been giving me trouble. It's something that I've been distressed about. Like, I want to move to a place where I don't think 10 times before speaking things. That's the change I'm trying to make, but it's very hard, because if I share something personal that I have not shared with my mother, then she's going to be angry at me. That if you were stressed at this point in time, why didn't you tell me? Then my grandparents are going to call my mother, and then my friends are going to come to me. So it's very hard. Yeah.
It's a tough journey. It's a tough journey. It's a tough journey. I think sometimes to even tell your parents that, hey, I've gone through this and my friends recommend I should see a psychologist who's a trained professional. And mom will like, just call me. I'll fix you. I made you. I'll fix you.
It doesn't work like that.
I'm like, it doesn't work like that. But it's our parents and it's how they express love. It's how they express care.
Yep.
My next question to you is about responsibility. With your audience, you also have, I'm sure you know this, some other young kids like you.
Yeah.
Small town kids looking at your videos going, that's the type of life I want. That's what I want to do with my life. That's what I want to do with my future. What responsibility do you feel towards them when you create content?
I feel like it keeps getting harder as the audience grows, because like last year I started working with ACT government to help them make videos on promoting Canberra as a student city. So they wanted me to, I'm still doing it. Like I'm editing one of their videos today. Like we are making videos that sort of change the perception around Canberra being the boring city and show the real side of it. Uh, like it's not as boring as people have said the narrative to be. There are things to do here and it's a fun place to be. There are a lot of things. But then I also feel like while I'm creating this video, what if someone watches it, they spend $100,000 of their parents' money and they come here and they realize that, oh, actually Kirat lied to us. Or if they have that realization, like that will be a very difficult thing for me to process. If they come and tell me like, I watched the videos and then I came here and now I just feel so bad that I made this decision. So I have to write scripts in a bit of a, I would say, diplomatic way as well, because I need to manage the brand's expectations. Now I can't keep doing things without money. So sometimes I have to prioritize money as well. But at the same time, I have to make sure that I'm not breaking anyone's trust. So even in the scripts I write, I make sure it is very clear that this is not the most exciting place, most flashy place in the world. And I will not make a video where it's being promoted as, you should leave, let's say, Sydney, Melbourne or Adelaide and come to Canberra. It's being sort of promoted. I'm promoting Canberra in a unique place and not as a comparison to other cities and telling people, oh, this is the best place in the world. So I have to make sure that scripts are being written in a way that no one misunderstands them. No one just comes here watching those videos and becomes disappointed. So I feel like that's the responsibility side of things, that even though I can just do the project and get paid for it nicely, I won't feel nice if it's some misinformation being spread and I'm just reading a script that the ACT government has given me. So, yeah.
If I can ask you, in your 4 years now that you've been here, if you can describe a moment for me while you're building your community, growing your brand, that you have felt completely alone, and what did you do next?
So there was a 3-4 month period where where everything was going wrong. So after graduating, I couldn't find a job in tech, but I had this whole marketing resume from my freelancing and everything. So I was applying for marketing jobs and tech jobs in parallel, and tech jobs were taking time. So I joined this marketing internship in the meantime. But that company that I joined was a bit off in their work culture, where I was leaving in the morning, but I didn't know when I was going back home, sort of a scenario. So they were making me work overtime and they were giving me like minimum wage. And unfortunately, during then, I had only graduated. So I didn't have an option. I had to take care of my visa conditions as well and everything. Make sure I go in the workforce as soon as possible to start qualifying for some of the visa stuff. So I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't leave the job. I had to just go with it. And then I made the mistake, while this was happening, I made the mistake of signing a wrong lease, a wrong rental lease, where I signed a new lease, but I misread the old one where it had no break fee, so it couldn't be broken. So I was paying double rent for some amount of time, trying to find a tenant for the old place. And then during this time, I used to have this best friend of mine, best mate, and he sort of left as well abruptly. So I was from all areas of my life, like personal and then professional and then monetary. I was like, it was like being stuck in a cage. So I had this whole 3-4 months of really bad time, I would say, in 2023 from Jan to June. But it was just enduring through it. It was just hard. And I was like, first I'll solve the housing problem, then I'll solve the job problem, then I'll solve the friend problem. So that's what I did. It was a hard time. But yeah, I think that's the experience that has contributed to a lot of what I am today in terms of handling difficult situations and stuff. Now it's like in the past 3 years, if anything bad has happened, I'm like, it's not as bad as that. So it's like, yeah.
For someone else going through a similar experience, what's the one piece of advice you have to give them?
I was like, this is the experience you paid for. Like getting out of your comfort zone and learning that you can handle even the most difficult situations by yourself at the age of 23, 22, 24. I feel like this is like you should be happy about it. So just if you come out of it once, you will have the confidence to come out of it every single time, kind of a scenario.
Kirti also mentioned to me that while growing your business and your goals, there are some things you've said no to,
Yeah.
including money. How do you learn to say no to money?
I only learned after 4 years. Like, in the first couple of years, I was saying yes to everything. That's why no thing was growing. Like I was doing videos, I was doing these parties, I was doing university work because I was finishing my job, even going to tutor as a computing guest tutor at the Australian National University, because I was like, if I have the skill, why not use it? So I was like packed. All my days were packed and I was doing every single thing, but nothing was progressing. It was just sort of, I'm working on this hourly rate and this will stay the constant because I was not putting effort in one single thing. So I just realized that if I want to grow in something, I have to start saying no to everything else. So I slowly started cutting out and then focusing on only one thing. And so staying hard to money is the hardest thing I've ever done. But it's also the emotional side of it, like saying no to friends. Like I can't be going out every single night. I can't be going out every single weekend. Like sometimes I do have to make the choice between editing or scripting the videos and hanging out with my friends. So I just try to balance it as much as possible. And I'm lucky to have people around me who understand these things. So they understand me as a person. So they don't ever take things sort of personally. If I say no or say I don't want to hang out today or something. But then again, I also have to, I've given up on alcohol and a lot of partying, and I'm not into the party culture anymore. So yeah, it's like a whole suite of things that you have to say no to. Yeah.
In your experience, from what you're doing, from how you structured what you do, how is discipline built? Is it built on pain? Is it built on purpose? Or is it built on something else?
I think that the most important thing is knowing, like I'm saying all this jargon about leaving alcohol and having 2 phones and not hanging out with friends. The most important thing to know is there is the biggest possibility, even after doing all this, is nothing is going to work out. Like if it was going to work out, like everyone would be a viral creator. Everyone would be very famous and successful and rich. So it's just, I know that even if I do all this, the biggest possibility out of all this is it is not going to work out. And once you are okay with it, once you accept that even after making all these sacrifices, because sometimes even I wake up and I think like, why don't I have more fun? Like, why do I always keep doing these stupid videos and everything when everyone is having fun? So I just have to be okay with knowing that even after all these sacrifices, it is still possible that I go nowhere in this path. Maybe I learn something passively and some benefit comes like, 3 years later, 4 years later, but it is also a possibility nothing ever is going to come out of it. So, but once you accept it, and once you think that, okay, 5 years later, I'll be okay with waking up and knowing that this is the choice I made and I'm happy with it, I think that's where the discipline comes from. Yeah.
What's one thing about your parents that you admire that you only learned years after leaving home?
Growing up from the age of, let's say, 7 or 8, where I remember the earliest years when I was 8, 7 or 8, I've seen my father work like 10 hours a day every single day. So he tried multiple businesses. He failed in a lot of them, but then one picked up really well, and it's what he does today. So I've just seen this work ethic that he has had over the years. Like, I used to think that if you are the boss, like, you can just go to the office anytime and leave anytime. And that's what I used to think as a kid. Like, my father is the boss. He's so lucky. He can just go to the office anytime, leave whenever he wants. But as I grew up, I started going to my father's office. I found out he's the one who gets there the earliest, and he's the one to close the doors to the office as well. And I used to wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. someday, and I used to walk in the living room and see him working on his laptop. So first I used to think like being a boss is so fun. Like, you just do whatever the hell you want. No one will stop you. But now I understand, like, it's a very risky job where you are responsible for everything. If I mess up in my job today, like, I will still get paid, right? Like, on the next payday. But if my boss messes up, he may not have the funding or salary to support his 10 other employees. So he's actually working under the pressure of supporting 10 other people and maybe their families as well. So this is what I've understood now, that work ethic and taking charge of something, like this whole Instagram thing, if it doesn't work out 3 years later, I will be the one responsible for wasting the prime 25-ish age of my life by not enjoying traveling and partying, and instead spending most of the time sitting on my laptop. So it's the consequence of the choice that I will have to deal with if things don't work out. And so it's something that my parents did as well, right? So it's something that I only understand now.
Something that's profound in your Instagram that I have seen is your relationship with your mother, about how you mentioned that when you travel to some special places, you love to take pictures of her, like, it was in a Bollywood movie. Where does that relationship with your mother get formed?
I think that I just, videography and photography is one of those skills, is one of those social skills where, I've had moments where, people ask me to take pictures of them, like when we go out. And sometimes when I use my instincts and intuition to take pictures of them, it makes their day. Like, they look at the pictures and they become so happy that their entire day is sorted. Like, I took this video of one of my friends last year, and he was so happy. He sent it to his entire family. His mother called him. He's like, "Wow, you look so handsome and smart. Who took this video?" So it's like one of those little social skills. Like, every skill has some special angle to it. Like, if you play a guitar and you go to parties, like, people will love you because you can bring a party together. So photography and videography has this similar aspect where you can make people happy. So I'm just like, how do I show appreciation towards my mother? Like, she personally keeps asking me for luxury handbags, but I don't have the resources to give her those bags right now.
As yet.
And maybe in a few years' time. But the way I can show my appreciation as Kirat Alreja is by making a video for her that she will watch, 50 times a day. And she does. She will send it to all her friends. Her friends will call her and say, "Wow, this is so nice." She will post it online, and it will make her happier than anything else in the world. And that's something that I know for sure. And it's only something I can do for her. Like, my father buys her handbags and whatever she wants, but this video thing and taking photos and videos of her is the only thing that I can do for her that no one else in the world can do. And she becomes so happy whenever I do anything related to videos for her. It's just a very rewarding experience for me as well. So that's something that I've kept going, and I will always keep having that relationship with her. Yeah.
You bring joy to your parents, you bring joy to the people that hang out with you, follow you. Are you happy?
I'm neutral, because it's like, I've heard this saying from someone, I think it is Nawal or someone, that having a desire is just a contract to be unhappy until you get that thing. So unfortunately for me, I have a lot of desires. Like, I have this like I will never be happy no matter how much my Instagram grows, because it's a never ending game, right? It's like wealth. Like once you taste it, once you start building it, it's never enough. You buy one car and then you want another and want another. So it's like, for me, the most important thing right now is getting this Instagram thing sorted and sort of building community around it. So I would say I'm motivated and I'm sort of satisfied, but I won't say like I'm, completely happy, because if I was completely happy, I think I have the drive to do it. There is some sort of desire that I always have back in my mind that keeps me going. Yeah.
When life gets busy, overwhelming, and even lots of opportunities come your way, what's that one voice in your head that guides you?
I don't share a lot of problems with my dad, but when something, just falls apart, he's the guy I call. Like even when I made this mistake of $50,000 worth of resources that I was telling you about earlier, like that day I thought that I have chosen the wrong career and I have like made the biggest mistake. So I was sitting outside my apartment, I was crying, and I just called my dad, like, Dad, I've done this thing. Like I got into this career as a scientist, but I made this mistake where I lost thousands of dollars for the company and stuff. And then he was like, you just started your career. This is the one of 100 mistakes that you will make, and you will probably cause millions of dollars of loss to yourself and other people. And so he sort of helped me calm down. So I only call him when things get to a point where I know I can't handle it myself. So I think, yeah, he helps me in those cases. But other than that, I've built competence around handling most things myself. So I don't actually reach out to a lot of people when I'm in problems. I handle them myself. But if something is out of my control, I call my dad. So yeah.
You can only connect the dots looking back. And I'm so grateful you're being courageous enough to share some of those moments with us, because when I reflect back, I used to work in an apparel manufacturing business in Sri Lanka. There was the Sydney Olympics, and the company I work for produced this Speedo Fast Skin. It's a swimsuit that's modeled on a animal tongue that will let water seep through really quickly. To impress my boss, the group of management trainees got together. We worked all night, got the fabric all cut, ready, prepped for a line of sewing the next morning. They couldn't sew anything because in our enthusiasm, the fabric was laid the wrong side around.
Yeah.
That cost $5,000.
Okay.
And to get the next batch of fabric in was a 3-week delay.
Yeah.
I still remember we were so scared. But my production director called us into the room then and said, I just invested $5,000 on your learning so that you can be the best employees ever. And to this date, I will never forget that, because yes, somebody will give you a learning program, a training program, but through those mistakes, you realize how much that can change you, but also how that communication, because somebody is going to make a mistake where you're in control. And then you have the opportunity to repay them with that kindness. And I hope you remember that as you progress in your career also. Who do you consider a mentor in life for you?
When I initially moved abroad, like for every little thing, I used to have a person. Like, it's a very common practice in India as well. Like if you ask someone, like, I want to get this XYZ thing done, it can be anything from like, fixing a leaking sink to buying a property. Everyone has a person for every single thing. And that's what I was doing when I first moved here. So every single little problem I used to have, I used to just call someone, do what they say and just trust it, do what they say, trust it. But at a point I realized that, this is not how it can work, because I am not making my decisions myself anymore. It's someone else making my decisions for me. So I would say like now I've just disregarded this concept of mentors in my life. I just listen to my own voice. I take opinions from people. Like I would call my dad, I would call a couple of other people I trust if I have to make a decision, but I would go against them if I feel like I have a better opinion on the thing I want to do. So I don't have mentors. I just have people who inspire me in real life. Obviously, my parents, my mom and dad, my grandparents, and then some online artists that I mentioned who have come from small towns and made it big. So I would say I don't have mentors. I just have people who inspire me. I am sort of my own mentor now. Yeah.
Kirat, you're still young. You're still in your 20s. As you evolve in this journey, how do you learn to trust yourself?
Yeah, I actually, one of the things that my friends make fun of me and I make fun of myself is I'm really bad at judging people. So I made, a lot of mistakes where I became friends with someone. I told them some personal things. I misjudged their character, and then things go wrong from there on. And it happens even till this date. Like last year, there was this acquaintance that I had who called me for help, and then they were acting all friendly and all nice, but I couldn't recognize that they're just contacting me for my help. They don't actually want to have a connection or anything with me. And as soon as I gave them that thing, they just stopped calling me or contacting me or anything. So I'm really bad at misjudging characters in life, and it's something that I'm trying to improve on. But I've just accepted the sort of these things about myself. There are things I'm really good at, and there are things that I'm really bad at. So I just keep going with the flow and know that mistakes will keep happening, but I can learn from them. Yeah.
What's the one question that I should have asked you to get to know you deeply that I have not asked you today?
I think one of the things that makes me is like how do you have this moral compass in life when things are going wrong? And I feel like having a good moral compass has got me very far. One of the things that I'm proud of, and this is something that people make fun of as well, I have never cheated on an exam in my life. Any assignment, any exam, even when things got tough. There's a funny story. There is a course in the Australian National University that's so tough that even the smartest cohorts, when they take that course, only pass by 4 marks. So the passing mark is 50. The mark to pass was 54 for the smartest cohort. So that's the only exam I thought, okay, you know what, I have to bake my moral compass here and I have to sort of try and cheat on this exam. So even though I tried to cheat on it, I couldn't, cheat on it. It just, it didn't make sense. So I've never cheated on an exam. Even if you put me in a room with a phone, say you can cheat all you want on this test, I have a moral compass where I won't do it. If I commit to doing something at work as a part of my job, like I won't ever discount it or do a half done job on it. I will always make sure that everything is up to the point. And even when people betray me or do things that are not right, I won't go and try to get revenge or make them feel bad or shame them or anything. I would just, instantly forgive them and sort of move on with my life. I think having this moral compass has helped me develop a lot of self-respect for myself, and other people have developed it for me as well, where people just trust me on things. They can come and talk to me about very personal things and know that Kirat is not going to sort of share this with anyone else. They would trust my opinions. My boss and everyone at work trusts me. They know I can get things done. And I'm sort of trying to build the same trust with my audience as well. So I think having this strong moral compass where I always do the right thing, no matter if the situation is against me as well, is something that is very Kirat. Yeah.
Something that's very Kirat that I have noticed is you're very mature. Where does that come from?
Again, I just think, one, it comes from my parents because of the values they have given me. When I was, I think 17, I wanted to go watch this horror movie. And then because the horror movies were 18 plus, I made these fake IDs for me and my friends so that we could get in the hall. Now it was a harmless mistake, like it's a movie and everything. But my mother made sure I heard it that day. Like, she communicated very well that what you have done is unacceptable in any form, not for a movie, not for anything. So it's just that when I have made these mistakes in life, my parents have communicated these things very clearly to me, which has sort of built this maturity. And I've seen a lot of tough time in my life in the past 4 or 5 years, that I have become sort of immune to a lot of bad things that happen on a day-to-day basis, which has sort of brought this maturity to me. So the price of maturity is just the mistakes you make, I guess. So I guess, that's where it comes from. I'm still immature when it comes to a lot of things, but for most of it, I think I'm mature. Like, I recently turned 25, so now I have a fully developed frontal lobe as well. So I have full brain capacity now. Yeah.
Fantastic. If somebody wants to connect with you, chat with you, get to know you, ask you some profound questions, or tap into your fully developed wisdom now, where does somebody find you?
I think Instagram is the best place to find me. And obviously, if you are in Canberra or Australian National University, you will always see me walking around with my cameras and stuff. So you can always stop me. And yeah.
Kirat, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you so much.
I reached out to you because I admire your content. I admire the way you deliver it, but I admire the person I was seeing through all of it. There was a human being that I admired. But I reached out to you with no expectation that you will ever reply to me, because I was starting a podcast with 0 followers. I'm like, why is this guy going to even reach out to me? You reached back, and you made the time, and I'm deeply grateful for your connection.
No, thanks for organizing all this. I mean, this is a really hard setup to do. I mean, I've done this a lot in the past, so I know it takes a lot of hard work to set this up. And obviously, thanks to your wife for managing everything with the cameras and batteries. Like, I have made mistakes in the past where I've gone on shoots like this, and immediately after the shoot, I have deleted the footage. So I know what goes into organizing something like this, with the pressure of having like a paid place to film in as well. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
A huge thank you to the wonderful team at Doma Hotels for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. If you are looking for 5-star accommodation, wonderful event spaces, and carefully curated dining destinations, the Doma Hotels offers all of that for you.